This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to CWK Live. This is your weekly place for Star Wars community and conversation. All done. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm messing up. How embarrassing. It's actually not embarrassing. I'm so excited I can't think straight. It is the 600th episode of Coffee with Kenobi. That's right, the 600th episode of the show, and you're recording it with me live. Who would have thunk back in May of 2013 I would be sitting down with you recording the 600th episode? It's amazing. Very, very excited to share this experience with all of you. Let's bring in our friends. First, we have Brian is here. Brian, this is the Tuesday. Great to see you, Brian. Anthony is here. Hello, Anthony says, happy 600th episode, Dan. Looking forward to seeing so many more. Thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate that. Hello, Terry. Terry is back. Welcome, Terry. You picked a great episode to return to, my friends. Great to see you. Mary is here as well. Happy Bad Batch Eve. Mary, it's great to see you. Ben is here. Good evening, fellow fans. Hello, Ben. Terry says, happy 600. Thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate that so much. And Mary says, woohoo, happy 600. Thank you so much, Mary. That's right. It is the 600th episode of Coffee with Kenobi. We had S.T.E.A.M into Star Wars last weekend. I'm sure you heard the live show that we did for episode 600. In fact, I'll put the little promo up here for you. It was a blast. There's Mason and I on stage recording the show. Mason joined me at the end. I had a number of students, past, present, and future there. It was a ton of fun. It was great to see all of you who came out. Greg McLaughlin from the Rebel Base Card was there. The Hyperion Hub podcast was there live, so that was wonderful. LJ Souter came all the way from Ohio. And Ross Hollabin was there as well, coming from Indianapolis. Of course, Tom was there. He's the one who organized this whole thing. And it was a fabulous time. I'll show you a little bit about that. Hello, Darren. What's up, man? Good to see you again. He says, wow, 600 shows. Isn't that wild? Brian wants to know if we're going to do 600 push-ups in honor of show 600. You know what? We can just do one a day. It'll take you a little while. But yes, absolutely. Ben says, pour a cup of coffee to 600 more. Well, thank you, Ben. I appreciate that, pal. He said, the live show was fun. I loved all the love for Revenge of the Sith. Boy, my students love Revenge of the Sith. That was really interesting. Daniel says, I wish I lived closer. I wish you did too, or I wish I had a Coffee with Kenobi shuttle. I could just fly you out here, Daniel. Mary says, seeing all the pictures Instagram Live and the podcast gave some of us a major case of FOMO. Well, we missed having you, definitely. We absolutely missed having you. So I'm going to get to that in a little bit. Of course, we're going to celebrate the first two episodes of season 2 of The Bad Batch, Spoils of War and Ruins of War. We've got our S.T.E.A.M into Star Wars highlights and, of course, your comments and questions. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. So I've got this little countdown on my phone, and I keep track of dates that are coming up that are exciting. So there are 87 days until Star Wars Celebration London, and there are 153 days until the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser event with myself, those of you joining us, and MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Let me put that up here too, since we're on a roll. That's right. June 12th to the 14th. I really can't think. I'm excited about Celebration, but I honestly think this is going to be just something so much different and so much more special because I'm getting to share it with many of you. Again, if you're interested at all, you can join us June 12th to the 14th this year on the Galactic Star Cruiser with myself and MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Terry is going to be one of the people to join us. Terry is looking forward to the Star Cruiser. I'm looking forward to that, man. Blue milk's on me, buddy. And plus, I've never met you in person, Terry, so that's going to be awesome. I know Mary is going to be joining us as well as several other members of the CWK Alliance and just people who love Star Wars. It's great. Again, if you are interested even a little bit, look, it's a no cost, no obligation quote. So you're good. You can at least find out and get all the information so you can make the best, most informed decision for you and your family. But it is a no cost, no obligation quote. You can join me and members of the Coffee with Kenobi family on the Galactic Star Cruiser, June 12th to the 14th. We'll spend a day on Batuu at Galaxy's Edge in Orlando, Florida, or a galaxy far, far away if we're in the story. Play Sabacc. It's going to actually be Mason's birthday that day. He's going to turn 10 years old. It's going to be fun. But it's only going to be fun if we get a lot of members of the Coffee with Kenobi family joining us. Okay, so let's take a look. This week, as I said, we're less than 3 months from Celebration. We haven't gotten any news about Celebration yet. I'm hoping that we will soon. But as soon as that drops, I will be sure to let you know. Let's go ahead and take a look. Now, I think the slides I have up here are from before, but I just downloaded. Yeah, that's the old one. So I'm going to pull up the new one and bring that over so you can take a look here. Okay, so I've got, no, it's not Bring Home the Galaxy anymore, boy. Here's some highlights, a couple things. I don't have all the pictures here, but between myself and Ross and LJ, Greg, and everybody else who was there, you got to see a little bit. This is Tom at the end. He was a very busy guy, but he ran up there at the end, and we announced the grand prize. It was Lola, the Hasbro Lola from the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series. So he came up there with me at the end. But what I did was I ran a line, and I just had a big line of people waiting to get on the show. And I asked them the 5 questions. But look who else was there, too. That is, of course, our good friend Tyler Pompa. Tyler joined us on at S.T.E.A.M and Star Wars, and Tyler lives in this area, so it was great to see him in person. We don't get to hang out nearly enough, but it was great to see him and meet his wife. That was really cool. There was a Blue Ribbon book fair there, so I did an author signing, which was great. There's my books on that top shelf, so Mason snapped a picture for me of that. That was really fun. Great to chat with people. Thanks to everybody who came out and got their book signed. That was amazing. Look at the cosplay, right? The 501st was there. So you've got Stormtroopers naturally, and you just can't get much better than that. And then on the left, this gentleman, it was his first ever time debuting this Mandalorian costume. And let me tell you, friends, that looked like I was looking at Din Djarin himself walking right out of Navarro into our little gymnasium here. It was a great costume. A great costume. Josh says, now I'm inspired to get a tablecloth. I need to get a new one, Josh, for the new logo, but we had that one, so of course I had to use that. And here's the Hyperion Hub. There's John Redling-Schaefer on the left. There's John Alois in the middle, and then Sean Degenhart on the right, and then Tom joined them as well. They talked a lot about their Star Wars memories, and it was fun. It was great, too. I'd met John and Sean several times, but I never met John Redling-Schaefer in person, so that was a great time. Okay, so this next one, so this is going to be interesting, right? I was busy doing some signings and then doing some things. I was hosting a panel on authors and then one on digital media content. So I gave my phone to LJ Souter and I said, LJ, buddy, can you walk around with my phone and just take some video of things? So I'm going to slap it together for real, and I will do that eventually. But I'm just going to share with you this video. So here's the thing. I have no idea I literally have no idea what's on it. I don't know what is going on in the background. So I can't imagine it's anything too crazy. Yeah, this could be very dangerous, Mary, but you know what? I trust LJ. Let's see what happens. You're going to be seeing this for the first time, as am I, but this is a bird's eye view or an LJ eye view of what Steam into Star Wars looks like. Okay, here we go. Up and down, just everything maybe looks cool. Just keep it like that.
Start with that.
There we go. There's me.
Yeah.
Let me get rid of. Let's see. What's a good way to do this? Let's go here. Let's go to this feed. This is live. This is live improvisation right here. Let's try again. Here we go. Up and down, just everything in it looks cool. Just keep it like that.
Start with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll edit out sound.
Yes. Yes. I believe this was during setup before anyone showed up just yet. Well, that worked out perfectly. Thank you, LJ. As you can see, there was a lot of local authors there. This guy's amazing.
Good, how are you?
He after he retired, he became an author, and he's awesome. Kids getting in line to play games. This is also a good shot for many of you of the school where I teach. There's the Death Star beanbag toss. That artist had some amazing art that you could purchase for only $15 a design.
How are you?
Great. How are you today?
Doing well.
Awesome.
Amazing working art. It's just incredible.
Dude, thank you so much. Are you a vendor here?
I'm actually a friend. I'm doing a recording right now. I'll be back.
Take care, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, LJ's a pro, isn't he? So this is Cameron Johnson. He's a really famous artist, but he was actually a former student of mine. And look at some of his work. His own original creations. Mason did not buy the 9 3/4, but he did buy a Patrick Mahomes image, which was pretty neat. He was excited about that. You can see Greg McLaughlin there in the background. You'll probably see him a little bit later. That's a robotics team that has won a lot of awards. Really proud of them. Here's Zeke's Comics and Games, our local comic book shop, with a lot of great merchandise. That was a crafts area where you could build. Every hour they had different items you could build. This is a story time where some of our high school athletes would read to the kids. This is before anybody got there, of course. There's the prize table. Lots of great things you could have won. You did a great job, LJ. You're hired, dude. There's an inflatable Jabba the Hutt back there. There's people getting ready to check in. There's Dan Ream of Teachers in the Dungeon. There's people getting ready to check in. And there's some of the books that were available at the book fair. There's my books right before I was going to get ready to do that signing. And there's Greg McLaughlin doing some interviews for the Rebel Base Card. It was pretty great when they showed it. They said, "Okay, where can I put Jabba together?" It's just not something you hear every day. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Daniel said, this is pretty special. Feels like I'm there. Thank you for sharing. Well, thank you. Thanks for looking at that. Once people, we had over 300 people at one point in that room, and we had steady, it was from 9 to 12:30. We had steady traffic all day, which was wonderful. Terry said, great video, LJ. Makes me feel as if I was there. Wish I could have been. You know, we talk about that, about getting everybody there. Sometimes it would just be so fun. Mary says, nice job, LJ. Yes, I really appreciate the hard work you did there, my friend, walking around and doing that. And avoiding all of your fans so you could take that video. Thank you so much for doing that. All right, let's jump into our top 5 for today, this evening, I should say. Your top 5 moments from the Bad Batch's Spoils of War and Ruins of War. It's episodes 201 and 202 as far as the timeline goes, but it's the first and second episodes of season 2 of the Bad Batch. Now, if you listen to Coffee with Kenobi, then I'm assuming that you heard Mason and I do a quick 30-minute review of the first 2 episodes. We're going to be doing one of tomorrow's episode for you as well. But right now, we're going to go through your top 5 moments from Spoils of War and Ruins of War. So here we go. By the way, this hat, I'm sure you figured out, this is from Clone Force 99. This is not some random skeleton hat, but this is from, of course, the Bad Batch. I had to wear that. Had to. It's in the rules, man. Okay, number 5 for me is Omega's maneuver at the beginning of the first episode of Season 2, Spoils of War. She has this moment where she's falling out of the ship, the Marauder, and she's got her light bow with her, and she does this little flip maneuver, sort of like Robin, vintage Robin from Batman and Robin, or I don't know. It was just a cool maneuver. It's good to see her coming into her own and being a capable warrior and escape artist in her own right without anyone helping her. So I really like seeing that. It was a very exciting little moment. Terry's 5, the return of the familiar Star Wars sounds and scenery. It was really nice. You just feel like the Bad Batch, it reminds you like of Clone Wars, more recent episodes of Clone Wars, and it just, the Star Wars iconography that we like so much. Number 5 for Ben is Back to Sereno. That was a treat for fans. I mentioned not loving the idea of Dooku pillaging worlds, but it added depth to his character, which I always appreciate. Yes, same here. It was like, oh wait, you hear the name Sereno, you're like, whoa, and then it clicks for you, and they say it's home of Count Dooku. It was pretty cool. Number 5 for Brian is a new armor paint job that everybody has. Very good. Yeah, I thought that was good. I was like, wait a minute, they all have different. You had to kind of recalibrate your brain to remember, wait, did they get that at the end of season 1? But no, they didn't. It was cool. Mary's number 5, the Bad Batch is fighting against the Empire's clones. Our guys continue to refrain from firing deadly fire as much as possible against their brothers. I'm glad you brought that up, Mary. I thought that was important too, and Mason and I pointed that out. The fact that they're using stun and not actually trying to set their blasters to kill. They're still stunning even though the clones are firing at them. Hello, Josh. What is up? Josh is a longtime friend of mine. I haven't seen Josh since probably a couple years after high school. It's good to see you, my friend. Hope all is well with you. All right, let's go into number 4. So number 4 for me is the animation. Look, the animation at the beginning of this thing is beautiful. It's really, really strong. It's crisp. There you got the beautiful. I think water and like hair are hard to animate. Pixar, of course, has perfected it, but Lucasfilm animation is no slouch. The water, the sun on that beach, the opening sequence of Spoils of War, episode 201, is amazing. Really, really well done. And I kept saying out loud to my son, look at this animation. It looks gorgeous. So hats off to you, Lucasfilm, because it looked great. All right, so go ahead and jump in with your number 4. Here we go. Terry's number 4 is Revisiting Castle Sereno from the Clone Wars. Excellent, which was mentioned a little bit ago. Brian's number 4, while in one of the containers, echoes /Omega/Tech's initial discussion about the morality of using Dooku's appropriated fortune for their own gain. I'm going to talk about that later too. It's important. Ben's number 4, Omega swinging down to fight the crabs. All I could think about was how much he's grown up and learned from Hunter. It's true. And it's just like inherent in her. I also think it's interesting, and this was mentioned on StarWars.com, that she's actually older than the Bad Batch, which is pretty cool, even though she's smaller in stature, but of course she's an unmodified clone. Number 5 for Daniel was they seem to have new armor, have changed their color schemes. Yes. It's nice and seems to hide them a bit better, even though they were pretty hard to miss. I know. You're right. You're right about that. Mary's number 4 is the change in Omega and the Batch's looks. It seems like they have not only updated their armor and uniforms, but also the entire animated look of everyone. You know, that's a good question. I want to find out about that because I noticed that as well. It's really sharp, really nice. Daniel's 4, Omega's new look, older look, and a neat cap. Yeah, it just seems just sort of like put together, doesn't she? Just, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of great things we're going to see from Omega this season, I would guess. Wink. Yeah, all right. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and jump into number 3. I'm just looking over my notes to make sure I didn't miss anyone. I know some of you just like to watch and not necessarily comment, which is totally fine as well. Raymar. Raymar is a new character. He's in the 2nd episode. He serves as, I guess he's sort of a mentor type for not only Tech, but for Omega. He encourages Omega to just be a kid, to be a child. Look, this thing I'm handing you isn't treasure. It's just colored glass. It's like a kaleidoscope. And it's just cool to see him help her tap into being a child for a little bit because she doesn't really get a chance to be a child. So that's crucial to me. And he also has a cool impact on Tech as well. Jen is here. Hello, Jen. Welcome to the show. Welcome to show number 600 of Coffee with Kenobi. Jen says, hearing what happened to Sereno from Romar, it reminded me so much of the planet Injustice from Tales of the Jedi. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of those connections too. Undoubtedly, they were designing them all at the same time, but I very much caught that. Brian's 3. Wrecker's MacGyvering a portable cannon from a droid tank. He got to go boom. And MacGyvering, that's great. A great adjective there. Well done. Well done, Brian. Terry, Tech's continued inadvertent humor. He's spot on, isn't he? He really is. Mary's number 3, the Kaleidoscope's gift from Raymar. The entire interaction with him was great, reminding all of them that Omega is still a child and should find time to be a child with play. Here. Very similar. We've got some similar stuff here, don't we? I love that. Daniel's 3, Rampart, just ruthless as all the Imperials are. It was all about advancement and order. That scene with Wilco made me look twice. Whoa, harsh but real. Yeah, Rampart is just not nice. He is capital Jerk, I would say. Yeah, that scene gives you chills. It really does. Ben's number 3, Tech. We see his human side more than his brainy side. He's more man than machine after all. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Hey, that's good. I'm embarrassed I didn't think of that. That's great. Everything from his broken leg, his humor, and the flirting even was great. Yeah, at the beginning of the second one with the Wanda Sykes character. Very cool. Very cool. All right, let's go jump into number 2, shall we? Number 2 is when they're all talking with Raymar. Well, with Tech and Omega and Echo are talking with Raymar, and they're talking about the treasure, I guess it's treasure, the things that Omega is obsessed with, and Raymar corrects him and says, not separatist, Serenian, and I think that's the correct pronunciation of Serenian. I couldn't really find anything online, so I just used my knowledge of the English language, and that's what we came up with. But he's pointing out to say, you know what? Before there were separatists that took everything over, we're people. We're Serenian. And I just think that's important and vital just because there's a lot of things that happen historically with cultures and civilizations and continents and states and cities and people and communities. And at its core, they are together as Serenians. The separatist thing is something that was forced upon them. At his heart, Raymar he separates from the separatists to remind us that he is a Serenian. I think that's a very powerful statement. It's no wonder people are so drawn to him. Mary says, Daniel, this was absolutely an honorable mention for me. Rough to watch Rampart straight up murder the poor clone. It was really difficult. Daniel agrees that Rampart is in fact a jerk. Yes, for sure. For sure. Brian's number 2. Echo's rising desire to do more against the Empire. It would have been a great time if he would have been in Rebels. I know. I've been thinking about the Rebels characters a lot, randomly, or maybe not. Ben's number 2, the crates falling from the sky. Great action. Plus, I like how Omega shows what she has learned about all the ships from text lessons to save them in a pinch. Isn't that cool? Like is it an Alpha class or Lambda class shuttle? And she's very much. I think that's the most she seemed like a kind of a teenager ever in that series. Just her. Yeah, I got my studies. I know what I'm doing, but I just kind of want to relax. It was interesting. You don't often see her like that. 2 for Jen. Omega using what she learned from her ship studies to figure out how they could escape. Hey, did you guys look off each other's paper? That's pretty good. Terry's number 2. Tech's near sacrifice defending his teammates. Very, very powerful. Tech is rapidly becoming more and more interesting to me. I've always liked him, but it's just more interesting. Hope that makes sense. Mary's number 2, letting Omega know that they would make the same choice all over again to save her. Questions where would they be if they hadn't? She is so important to the batch. Yeah, in fact, I'm not sure if you all noticed it, but I actually had 2 articles on StarWars.com this week. I had one today, which is on the U-Wing. It's my Ships of the Galaxy column that I do for StarWars.com. And then Amy Ratcliffe and I had a debate over who was the most valuable clone. And I said Omega. So, Mary, I thought you would appreciate that. So be sure to check that out at StarWars.com. Daniel's number 2. The whole professional and military consistency with Captain Wilco's character thinks much like his brothers. Yes, he does. And at first I was worried that the clone here that was killed at the end was the clone from season 1 that we all liked so much. But it doesn't seem that's the case. Mary said the debate article is very good. Well, thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. It's always cool to be able to, of course, write for the official site, but to have that conversation with Amy. Really cool stuff. Really cool. Okay, it's time for number 1. Let's get that drum roll here. No, it's not a rim shot. It's a drum roll. Number 1 from the season 2 premiere of The Bad Batch for me, Hope versus Hiding. We haven't talked about Hunter much on this episode, but he and Echo at the beginning of the episode talk about hiding and talk about giving other people hope. Echo is not a fan of hiding, and he realizes we need to help people. There are some people in the galaxy that need us. But Hunter, with the absolute best of intentions, wants to keep hiding to keep Omega safe. And I just think it's really neat, and I hope that leads to more really diving deeply into what makes these characters tick, yes. But more importantly, what are they fighting for? What are they running from? Is it from, fear is such a dangerous thing, as we know as Star Wars fans, what that can do. But I also think it's important to point out and to, what are you about? Hunter doesn't seem like someone who would be a hider, but he's fighting for Omega. However, after a while, is that too much protection for Omega? I don't know the answer to that. That would be a very hard question. It's very easy for us to say that. Yes, I know it's a fictional world, naturally. But let's just suppose that this is your child. Like, would you want to help out other people, or would you want to hide to keep your child safe? Or is there even more to it than that? It's an interesting conversation. And I really like that they brought it up early on in this season. Okay, here we go. Jen says, Mary's number 2 is my number 1. For me, Omega feeling guilty about putting the Bad Batch in this position, and her confrontation with Echo about it was the emotional glue of the episode. Yes, it was. I agree with that. And when it finally came out, I was glad, because I was starting to worry about why Omega was acting that way. And then it all made sense. Mary's number 1, the Indiana Jones and Last Crusade homage. Omega realizing that the treasure isn't everything they need one another. That was very cool. Number 1 for Ben, Omega's lesson on treasure from Romar. It takes her a while, and she even obsesses with the treasure with good intentions, but she realizes Romar's treasure has more value than any treasures in the crate. Well said, Ben. Number 1 for Terry, Omega struggled to grow into an adult while also learning to be a child. And again, I like that you said that, because I think it's interesting that it's something that she struggles with, and we haven't really seen it very much, it's cool to see it, to be reminded of it. Number 1 for Josh, Indiana Jones references with both Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. Yes, there were. And we even saw some Indiana Jones references in the recent episode of Willow, too, the one with Christian Slater. So Lucasfilm was really nailing it. Number 1 for Darren. Knowing that Crosshair didn't give up the team by telling the Empire they were not dead at the end of last season, this shows the Empire guy said it could not be the Bad Batch as they are all dead. A pretty chilling moment, I would say, Darren, for sure. Brian's number 1 text revelation that not everyone from Dooku's planet was a separatist. He did internalize that as something different than they have been told. And I think it was cool, again, for us as an audience to realize that just because some planets are bad or they were separatists or whatever, doesn't mean they all had the same philosophy. It's important. We tend to generalize people under certain umbrellas, and it's just not realistic. Daniel's number 1, the underlying theme that Echo carries with him regarding doing more and helping others that need it. Love it. Love it. Well, this was great, all of you. I love it. It's great to be able to talk about the Bad Batch again. It's been a really long time. So next week, of course, we've just got one episode, but it is one you're going to really enjoy. Top 5 moments from the Bad Batch, The Solitary Clone, the 3rd episode in Season 2 of the Bad Batch, The Solitary Clone. Get your top 5 list ready to join me next Tuesday to talk all about it. Brian's honorable mention, they released 2 episodes together, so we wouldn't be left waiting a week midair and continue with Tech, Omega, and Echo. Yeah, I know. That would have been quite a little cliffhanger. It would have been really unfortunate. All right, let's go ahead and jump into Ask Dan Z. Okay, so this is your chance to ask me whatever you'd like to about Star Wars, podcasting, what have you. Again, this is the 600th episode of Coffee with Kenobi. People have been asking me all day and sending me messages, and thank you, by the way, for everybody who has reached out about it. It's wonderful. I'm stunned by it. But I'm also, I don't know. I don't know that I don't take it for granted because I know how much work goes into it. And if you count, I've done over 800 podcasts. That doesn't even include the guest podcasts that I've been fortunate to be on. But Coffee with Kenobi and CWK Live are just extra special because I get to share it with everybody. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I've always said from the beginning that I want the show to feel like a community where people have a safe place to voice their Star Wars comments, questions, and opinions. And I feel like the integrity of that has always been there. As long as I'm in charge of Coffee with Kenobi, that's how it's going to be, because it means a lot to me. I know how important it is to have a community, have a place where what you say is heard, is validated. And while we're not always going to agree on every aspect of Star Wars, that's okay. That discourse, that rhetoric leads to growth and learning about ourselves, about each other, and about this beloved galaxy that we think so highly of. And I am very happy. Gosh, I feel like I get choked up. I'm very happy that I get to just be a part of this community and to bring you Coffee with Kenobi and to be able to chat with all of you. Thank you all so very much, truly. Darren wants to know, how do you know how much time has passed between the end of season 1 and the start of season 2 of the Bad Batch? Do I know? Darren, I do not know. And I was wondering that myself. As far as I'm aware of, they haven't actually said it. Hopefully they will, or maybe it'll be in that Timelines book that's coming out later this year. I'm not sure. But I'd be interested in that too. Josh says, congrats. That's amazing. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. You've been a great supporter. All of you, Josh, Ben, Brian, Daniel, Mary, Minta, Colby, Ross, LJ. Of course, my co-creator, Corey Clubb. It's his birthday today. Be sure to wish Corey happy birthday. Ryder Waldron, Aaron Harris, David Motters, Gar Van Orden. There's so many of you who have been just instrumental. Of course, Tyler Pompa, Blake Weaver. I said Ross and LJ, I hope. Greg McLaughlin, Jen, Greg Cass. There's so many of you who have been so instrumental to the success of the show. Lou Mangel has been a big help. Mike Pilot from Full of Sith at the beginning. Ed Dosser from the Indie cast. I should have just made a list. Terry King, of course. So many of you just done so much for me. Let's see. Ben says, how do you sum up looking back at the 600 episodes and how much you've accomplished in the last 10 years with Star Wars? Woo. I I don't know. That's a great question. I sum it up by saying, uh, and the force is strong with Deanna's there. I mean, my goodness, she has been. There's been so many times where she's had to take care of business for all three of our kiddos, especially when before the older two moved out, because of college and graduating, just moving on in their lives and going on their own hero's journey all by themselves. God bless them. I miss those guys. I miss you, Peyton and Parker. They it's just so cool. The things that I get to do and the things that I've seen and done are enhanced because of who I get to share it with. And I'm telling you, I don't take that lightly. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Everything that I do, I'm happy. Like you said earlier, I think, who said it? I can't remember who said it. If it was Daniel or Terry, who it was, but showing these things to everybody is so fun because I really want you to feel like you're a part of it, because you are. We're all in this together, man. Let's see. Brian says, "This is the way. CWK's way. Thank you for making this so special for us." Brian, thank you. I purposefully didn't, reach out to anybody, get any guests or whatever. I didn't really want to do an interview for 6 hours. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my friends. I want to talk to my Star Wars family. So thank you. For those of you, look, it's hard to ask someone to give up their Tuesday night to join us live when you've got family and commitments and things that you need to take care of, or that you want to take care of, or you just want to unwind from a long day. So many thousands and thousands of you listen to the show later on the podcast feed or watch it on YouTube. But I appreciate all of it. And again, when you are able to join me, it means the world to me. I thank you so much. Daniel says, "I need a tissue." Well said, Dan. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Josh says, "You set a gold standard for podcasting and building a community." Josh, that is very kind. It's very kind. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You're a big part of that. What are my hopes for the next 600 episodes? Well, I do have a lot of plans for the next 600 episodes. Full disclosure, I'm not quite sure yet if I'm going to Celebration. There's a few things I'm kind of working with, but that may be on the radar. It may not. I do know for sure that, of course, you and I and Mary and some of the rest of us are going to be on the Star Cruiser in June. There's an Indiana Jones movie coming out, and who knows what else is going to happen. Jen says, "Congratulations, 600 episodes is an incredible accomplishment. So happy to have found this community and have got more involved recently." Well, thank you, Jen. I'm grateful that you've become a regular guest on the show as well, and I'm glad you're a part of the CWK family. Mary says, "Happy birthday, Corey." Yes, Corey is awesome. I talked to Corey a little bit today on text. Great to have him. This show would not be here without him. And his logos, I'm convinced, are what set the show in a different place, because he's the pro. He's the pro designer and just a great guy, my brother. Mary, we are so grateful for you and CWK. I've met and become friends with so many wonderful people because of CWK. Thanks, Dan. Thank you, Mary. And, you've been such an amazing supporter from the beginning, and I'm really grateful for you. One of the things I like so much about the show, I'm going to start the outro music here. One of the things I like so much about the show is when I see, like, LJ and Ross met through Coffee with Kenobi, and then they drove together to come to Steam in the Stars last weekend. Like, I like seeing people getting to know each other, through the show is great. No matter how you meet is awesome. But I just like that I can in some way help bring people together, because you have brought so many people into my world that I never would have known without Star Wars and Coffee with Kenobi. Mary says, "We are family." Amen. Ask Danzy turn into making Danzy blush. You might be right. Maybe you can even freeze the moment when it happens on the replay. I will thank you again, everybody. You know what? I'm going to pause my little wah-wah, because I want to show you a clip from Pour Over this week, because it was really fun. We did our Pour Over. We did our goals and our New Year's resolutions. Here's a little clip. Just because you age doesn't mean you don't fall backwards. Doesn't mean you don't slide sideways. Doesn't mean you don't still have things to grow and to learn and to change. You will grow and learn and change if you're being honest with yourself and open to becoming the best version of yourself every day of your life. It doesn't stop when you're in your 20s or your 30s. You continue to grow and to evolve and to learn to pluck the weeds from the soil around you.
Wow.
Okay. I'm inspired.
That was good. I like that a lot, actually. I did. It struck me, but it is good.
Maybe that's what we'll ask each other at the end of the year. What weeds did you
What
pluck?
weeds? Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Weeds did you?
And taking notes here.
Okay, I'm writing that down too.
Yep, take notes. I'll write that down as well.
What weeds? So this. I was Corey and Tom were excited about me sharing that, so it was such a random transition. I apologize, but I liked it. So yeah, what weeds are you gonna pluck so that you can be the best version of yourself this year, and how can we support each other in that process? Well, one way we can do is we're doing the push-up challenge. I know several of you are doing the push-up challenge. You just add one a day, every day. Those little incremental additions to your life can improve you day after day after day. So fun. So fun. All right. Have a great week, everybody. Ben, happy Bad Batch Eve. Go pluck some weeds this week and see you next week. That sounds good. I will see you all next time. Thank you again for 600 episodes of Coffee with Kenobi. Here's to many, many more. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here. Move along.